Yeah, a podcast showing off its beverages. You know, I keep on forgetting this will be also in an audio format, so it really won't matter. Yes, folks, if you're not watching this at home, Chris and I are showing off our beverage of the night.
Everybody gets thirsty.
Here, Chris?
Well, we're showing brands, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because you never know, sponsorship could happen.
It's my go-to. A little bit of Rheingeist.
Rheingeist. I'd noticed that's out of Cincinnati, Ohio, correct?
Absolutely.
Rheingeist, Cincinnati, Ohio, or for our local natives here, Cincy with a Y, Ohio. That's right. Some people don't get that. Got to be from around here to understand that. Just like you got to understand Skyline Chili.
The cerveza con limón.
Cerveza?
Yeah, it's their take on a Mexican with lime.
Sounds
kind of like Modelo.
You're doing vanilla, and I'm doing orange. Jameson orange. Mighty tasty, my friends. By the way, you must be 21 and up and to enjoy these beverages, whether you're at home or with friends. Just making sure that if any sponsorship, we want to make sure that we, drink responsibly.
Don't drink and drive, kids.
Oh, no. It's one of the dumbest top 5 things you can do, especially when you've got, something to wash it down with.
Yeah.
Another
I'd put
Heineken Silver.
I think I'd put it 3. Top 3.
By the way, in case you're just now stumbling across this podcast for the very first time, if you didn't check out our first episode, I am Scott Kennard, and of course, the gentleman sitting next to me in his man cave would be
Mr. Christopher Webb.
It's still the opposite. Yeah, Mr. Christopher Webb. The two of us decided not too long ago, hey, let's do a podcast because Lord knows this world doesn't have enough of them, but we're bored with the rest of them because they're boring. They're just not that talented. They're just not that good at what they do. And even though they've had their professional microphones and their professional surroundings and everything else, Chris and I decided, you know what, we're going to be better than them. So why not do our own damn podcast? Whether it's here on YouTube, looks like Facebook in the future, and whatever is available out there. I guess that's how you're supposed to say it, right? When you're professional.
I mean, Jesus, that's one hell of an intro. I'm never going to top that.
Yeah. If you're going to do it, you're going to come in with some balls. We talked about that in our last episode. So, of course, if you want to learn more about your balls or our balls, go check out episode 1. So, yes. Maybe
Manscaped will sponsor us.
Yeah. Lord knows.
If we keep talking about balls enough.
Yeah. Hell, they could send me a Manscaped. It may help improve my. Enough said there. So yeah, Chris actually came up with the title. I mentioned it before, and I'm going to keep on giving this gentleman credit here. Meet Us in the Man Cave. I mean, what better perfect title than that? I mean, if you've seen this face, this mug before, the guy is actually rambling on way too much, tries to tell, shut up so Chris can talk. Well, you understand that I have a man cave. And as you can pretty much tell, well, Chris, you've got one hell of a man cave there.
See, I like the aspect that it played off of your bar downstairs as well, because it's kind of like the man cave idea. It's just where we go to talk, shoot the shit.
And this time of the year, should feel really comfortable down in the man caves. I can't wait till I do a podcast over there. Yep, we've talked about that too in the last episode. Yeah, we've got some major plans with these podcasts. A little refresher, horror stuff, horror related stuff. Cars, that's more Chris's expertise, and we got to really make sure that I'm ready. Is it July 22nd?
Ooh,
I think it is July 22nd. Your next event that's in our neck of the woods.
Yeah, I actually go to a lot of car shows and cars and coffee. lots of cool stuff there. I'm hoping to.
That's where I'll know my stuff. Coffee. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that because I can't wait to take my camera down there and show you guys what Chris's expertise is in, other than the latex sitting behind him. And of course, we will get into music. I'm trying to figure out how to do music where we don't get copyright, but maybe just talk about our experiences with growing up. I don't know. We'll figure that out, I guess.
There she is.
Oh, there's that. That's his car right there. I mean, he doesn't literally have it physically behind him. But yeah, I asked you the last podcast, and once again, since I know it's a Honda. Mm-hmm. But here, you tell us. I'm sorry, Chris. I'll enjoy.
I mean, it's my baby. I don't know what else to really say. Say 2020 Honda Civic Type R. Pretty big Honda head, but it's just a lot of fun.
How long have you been into cars? I mean, when can you think back to, when did it all start for you?
16. I'm 40 now. So, I mean, I've had all types of cars, Camaro, Eclipse, several Hondas, an EP3 Honda, an S2000. I'm really big on JDM, Japanese cars.
Okay, I was gonna ask, what does that mean? So
Japanese domestic market.
I was gonna say, yeah, because Honda seems like it's more made here in Ohio, than actually Ford and GM anymore.
They are. They have a plant in Anna, Ohio, that is responsible for some of the most powerful Hondas.
I'm willing to guess in Anna, which is further north of us. It's a small little town. I'm willing to bet 94% of the people work at that particular plant.
I wouldn't doubt it.
And this being obviously a white vehicle, is that has white always been your personal preference, or is it just this particular model that said, hey, this looks sexy in white?
Yeah, I love championship white.
Okay.
And I really wanted to play into the white mask idea. So that's kind of my thing.
That's cool. That's cool. I've never really looked at it that way. Now, do you have any shots of just some general shots of the interior of your car? I enjoy the old classic cars, and there's something about the interior, because I have this red and black thing. Has a lot to do with Eddie Van Halen, but I see that red and black. I was like, ooh, I like the interior.
Yeah, red's like their signature color for the Type R's.
You have to send me some photos of those again. That way I can also add it into this. Well, it'll make sense as we watch it later, especially for those people eventually that are going to really be into our videos, because eventually they're going to have to find us on Patreon eventually, which I'll make it simple for it. But yeah, that's really cool, Chris. I've got to, I think I did mark it in my calendar of that date. And that way I get down there and record some videos and stuff. And I figured that'd be a really cool thing. We could focus on that particular podcast all on that particular day right there. I think that'd be pretty cool. Because there's got to be a lot of guys like yourself that absolutely love these vehicles. The more of a niche of the type of vehicles that you're into. I mean, like you said, if you could explain a little bit about this car show.
It's huge. I think I have some aerial videos of it, actually. Oh, shit.
While he's looking for his photos, yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's going to take me a minute.
As he's looking for it, what he's explained to me, this location where they have a car show, it's kind of a somewhat new, I mean, to sum it up, he told me there's cars like Lamborghinis, Ferraris, all those, fancy imported cars that, generally guys like me that don't know much, but grew up having those posters up on their walls. I myself, I've seen Chris's car in person, and it's pretty sweet, but I just not seeing a Lamborghini up close and personal. I'd be like, ooh, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that.
There's been several.
Yeah, is there any DeLoreans there? I'm a DeLorean Back to the Future guy.
So this was
there we go.
This week this year's opener.
Okay.
Which was, I think it's like number 2 in the U.S. It was like 1,500 cars in one location.
Dear Lord.
But I mean, they take up several parking lots.
And you have to get there, I would imagine. If, let's say it was open to the public. I'm just throwing a number out there, or a time, 7:00 in the morning. I would imagine it's about what, maybe 30, 35 minutes from where we live.
Yeah, every bit.
You would probably have to get there. I mean, do you usually have the same location or where you park your car, or with obviously with your net tight of friends, or?
Yeah, we try to, but it goes fast. Like, we usually get started at 6 in the morning.
Not to take away the cars, but I obviously have more of a, well, yeah, he's smart because he knows coffee. Where does the coffee fit into this?
I don't know. I'm thinking it's just a C and C.
But is there actually?
They just wanted something catchy, you know? No, there's coffee there. It's not Dunkin' Donuts, though.
I'll manage. Yeah, anytime Chris sees me in person, I pretty much have a Dunkin' Donuts. See, I drive responsibly with what I'm drinking.
Playing into the whole, these are the emblems that I had made.
Oops, sorry. I was actually pulling up my calendar for July. I think it's not marked on. So I'm pretty sure I'm marked. Okay, there's the emblems. Ooh, that's on your car?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that is cool as hell. Now, do you have the traditional sticker, that I shouldn't say, but yeah, I think all Meyer fans know what I'm talking about, that white sticker. I thought Zach gave me one of those. Where the hell did I put it at? For like a Father's Day present. It's like, the half, the white mask.
Oh, yeah.
You just see them on cars.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I wanted to kind of keep it classy, I guess.
I understand. If I had my... I think I talked to you about Better Off Dead, John Cusack movie, a classic, cult classic comedy. Are you want to show your license plate there, Chris?
Oh, I don't care.
Okay. I was gonna say, let me know now. I could blur it out.
I don't mind.
John Cusack.
You'll only find me in Mexico.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. That's right. We discussed that in episode 1, how he was racing cars in Mexico. But John Cusack had like a 67 or a 69 or 68. I'm no expert. At the time I was a teenager, I knew what a 67 compared to a 69 black Camaro, and there was like no pinstriping on that car. And I'm like, yeah, don't put any pinstriping on that black beast.
Yep.
Yeah, I could see that.
You don't need
that
it.
Little ghostly image of, a ghost face of a certain Myers.
The engine's really where I love to be.
Now, see, that's where I really get lost, especially today compared to, not that I knew my way around a damn engine before. I mean, I knew how to jump, if someone needed to jump, yeah. But today I look underneath the hood, I'm like, well, where the hell's the damn engine at,
There's so many electronics and everything, sensors everywhere. It's just...
That being said, I asked you last week, I talked about 4-cylinders. I was trying to use that analogy. Apparently, a 4-cylinder analogy is much different today than it was, let's say, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I'd use like a 8, cylinder compare. I mean, explain to me like I'm in 3rd grade. Why is a 4-cylinder today more powerful? Does that make any sense?
Yeah, I mean, it's really about power to weight. If you have something that only weighs like 3,000 pounds,
okay,
and you have another car that weighs 4,000 pounds, it's going to... I need less power to be as fast as that other car. So me putting down 400 wheel horsepower is going to be, Scat Packs, V8s, a whole bunch of other cars that are, especially Dodges right now, but they're pretty much equal. So you think of V8 and you think like that, well, that's a Hemi. That's several horsepower. Well, I don't need that as much because I only weigh 3,000 pounds.
Would the technology of today with obviously computers are practically in everything, would that have something to do with it as well?
Pretty much buying this car, it comes with 306 as is.
Is that's 306? That is like what the standard engine model size is what you're referring to, or
no? That's horsepower.
Okay, gotcha.
306 and 310 torque right out of the box. But then you start getting into all the electronics and all the tuning, and you can pretty much add 80 to 100 horsepower without doing that much to
Wow. Now, it being obviously, it's like summer started like that here recently. I can remember back when I was a teenager, if you had a 4-cylinder car, like an Escort, if you tried to run the air condition, you lost a lot of power. Seriously.
Yeah. Okay.
Not that you had a lot of power before, but imagine driving. Okay, let's say you're going to this car show and you're on 75 South and you're going up that hill as you're coming up to 725. Now imagine, say, 1986. You're driving up that same hill in a Ford Escort and it's 91 degrees outside and you've got AC. Now, you did, seriously, you would lose power. You trying to get up that hill. It was almost like you were pulling a trailer, like you're a semi truck driver.
I got you.
Now, today,
I'm going to have to take you for a ride.
Yeah, definitely. So I would imagine today in a 4-cylinder, that issue does not exist. You know, like in your car, obviously. I mean, yeah, no kidding. It doesn't exist. You've got, obviously, it's not just a toy. It's got some serious horsepower to it. But yeah, you would literally feel it. A passenger in the back seat, you would feel if you turn on the AC, like, oh crap, it's going to take us a while getting up this hill. It's amazing. Wow, technology is seriously coming
for
along.
me, I mean, maybe 1 or 2 horsepower. Having the AC on, I mean,
but you don't. Yeah,
it's not noticeable.
Man, that's where technology. See, I'm one of those old farts that say I miss the good old days where we didn't have the cell phones and stuff like that as a part of our ritual of going out having a good time. But as an old fart, I could appreciate this today where it's, let's say, 91 degrees outside and I'm driving a 4-cylinder car. I want to crank on that AC. Yeah, I know it's going to suck the gas up, but you know, that's what you work the overtime for, so you can afford that gas for the AC, I guess. I don't know. I
mean, the equivalent in a V8, getting the horsepower numbers that I'm currently at, they're usually around like maybe 18 as far as gas mileage.
Okay.
I mean, I'm at 32.
Wow.
It's just different.
That's let's face it, that's a huge difference. As we all, I think there's not a person out there that doesn't drive a car or that's not responsible, or at least responsible for paying for fuel, that doesn't understand the difference there. I mean, that's a huge difference. Not to change subjects, but you and I were talking before we could talk more about the cars here on this particular episode, but I also wanted to bring up you suggested the idea of masks again.
I don't think we're ever going to get away from it. I mean, it's what we love. So I would definitely understand if we want to take it in that direction.
How is your, now granted, I've seen it recently, but you don't have to, bring it around the corner and all that, but how is your blank, what is it? The beginning once again? I can never remember the name of that mask that we most recently got. How are your feelings on it? Are you feeling pretty good about how the results are turning out so far?
Yeah, I gotta get some weathering on that. I gotta darken it up a little bit. I wanted more of a white, and then I wanted to weather it down a little bit. But right now it's just white.
Last weekend we decided to work on these masks a little bit more, and we started working on our those masks a little bit. And Chris and I are going at it different directions, which is I know for a fact I talked to you about this, and I guess this is a great way to bring it up. Let's face it, you get on Instagram, Facebook, or whatever, all social media platforms out there, and there's so many Meyer masks out there. Just like as you look behind Chris there, he's got an amazing collection right there. And not one of them looks exactly the same. Not one of them. That's just silly. Now, of course, now I'm trying to look at my camera. And now if you put mine right next to his, we're going at it at different approaches, I guess you could say. His is he's got he's focused on making his more like I guess you could say more like a clean version.
Yeah, I feel like for me, I have so many dirty H1s. I kind of just wanted to see just a pristine, just white mask.
I guess my point of it is there's trying to avoid not to, burp, which I feel coming on. There's no wrong way of doing it. Seriously, there's not. So if you yourself are, let's say you buy your first blank, because they are available from like Simon here. I think I've seen him posting it here recently, how he's got some available. And of course, at masqueradework.com. If I can always put the link to that video where I did the unboxing. I think I could be wrong. I'm going to have to look into it more, but I thought I seen something about an H4 as well. But I guess my point of it is don't be afraid to just try to make it your own. Trust your instincts as you're painting your mask, whether it's a rehaul or not. If it starts going in one, just keep on going with it.
Oh, absolutely.
Mine right now is not nearly as white as what Chris is doing with his. Because I'm trying to, I don't know. I'm going with the concept of, I want white. I still want to see some flesh in it, and I'm weathering it. I'm just going with it. I'm just seeing how the results turn out. I mean, chances are the next time I touch it, I'm obviously going to, seal it up again. And then I'm going to, I think I did put some white on. Yeah, I did. See, I'm technically away from it. Chris is right around the corner from this mask of mine that I'm talking about. So when I look at it, I'm doing it at a different perspective this time. Before, I would always just walk into the next room and take a look at what I've been working at. Now, I look at it with fresh eyes, and it's like, it's kind of nice. In all honesty, it really is to be away from a mask you're working on.
And you can't, follow the same formula as everybody else. I mean, it's just, we've seen it so many times, guys getting burnt out at that.
Yeah.
You can't cookie cutter the mask, really. You really can't. It's just sucking all the fun out of it. And just, man, you should just be ballsy.
Yeah.
just do it.
I think after we experienced the eye cutouts, now I just feel like everything is downhill from there. There's no doubt about it.
I had a few beers. I'll be honest. I was, but I just kept looking at it and just thinking, when you get to the point where you just get sick of looking at something, and you're just like, fuck it.
If only there was like a fly or a camera in the corner. If you were just focusing on the subject idea, I just kept on like going back to, that's not a good reference. Like I kept on,
I could feel your nervousness. Yeah. And I was just like, fuck this.
I was trying so hard to not, because I've seen so many, and this is no disrespect to anybody out there that's done it, but I've seen so many eye cutouts where they cut it way too big. And every Meyer fan knows that if you screw up those eye cutouts, if it's way too big, you might as well make it into something else. My experience from this and from the past, you don't necessarily try to make it look exactly like some of the photos you see from the guys out there that's been doing this for a long time. We'll use James Carter. He must get tired of hearing his own name, JC.
Oh God, no doubt.
JC is like friggin' Apple. Once Apple does something, everybody else has got to do what Apple's doing. It's just how it is. God, I could start going down rabbit holes of different analogies all the time.
No, definitely respect where it's due.
Yeah,
for sure.
But then I see so many other artists out there that are in their 20s right now or their early 30s, and they're getting it down of these eye cutouts just alone, and I tell you what, Chris, I cannot wait until we can get, I don't want to jinx it, but I don't see how on earth I can. I cannot wait till we can get somebody on here with us who's actually a more experienced, like either a finisher, a maker, or, not necessarily someone who does rehauls. I'm not trying to shun rehauls, but I really want to talk to somebody that knows their stuff when it comes to, I don't want to bore them with stupid questions, but I just would love to. I think it'd be a good thing for others as well.
Pick the brain. Yeah, I got you. Pick the brain. I'd love to talk to is who's been kind of killing it lately is Rodney Parham. Have you seen his stuff lately?
Maybe I have. I've been, to be honest with everyone out there that's possibly listening or watching right now, I have been fixated on getting a podcast started. So I haven't seen any. Haven't been seeing any white masks here, because I figure once this gets going, I'll be dabbling in that rabbit hole again. So now you'll have to send me a link to his images, or I'm sure you'll find on Instagram or Facebook, because I can't believe
I've kind of been putting that in your hands. I'm kind of hands off with that. I'm like, I'll buy a new mic.
Well, you're already buying. Yeah, his camera is going to look. He's getting a Sony. What is it? A Sony A5100.
5100. Yeah. I'm excited for that, and I don't even.
It's a good camera. I mean, Sony. They're the top of the line of cameras right now for any YouTuber out there. Or not just YouTubers, but
I don't know jack shit about it. I'm kind of like, that's cool. Maybe I'll learn some shit.
Mirrorless,
Once again, it's that ballsiness.
Did you find out what the size of the sensor is on that camera? If not, I can talk to you about it later. It's really not that important.
Yeah, I don't even know what that means. I'm going to be honest.
It's about DSLR, how they're not mirrorless and all that. Okay. Yeah. That's, you know what, folks? If there's two people that are watching this down the road, if you're like, what the hell is he talking about? Sensors and mirrorless and all that. If you actually are curious, as Chris is going to be messing around with it more, we could actually talk about that when it comes to random shit down the road too, because I'm sure that if you are wanting to take more photos or videos of your own masks, you might want to say, well, damn, what kind of camera? You know what? Use the camera that you got. Seriously. Cameras are expensive as hell, and it doesn't matter how expensive your camera is. If you don't know how to use that camera, your photos or videos are not going to look that good. Sorry, but it's just a fact. It's just like if Chris said, okay, here's my car. I need you to fix it. I don't know what the hell to do. Now, thankfully, I know how to drive a manual transmission, but yeah, I was taught that way. If you're going to learn how to drive a car, you're going to learn how to drive a stick before you drive an automatic. But those were those days. Today, here in the United States of America, I think there's more. That's where we're lazy. Most European.
That's a good rule.
Yeah, they're all. From what I understand, most European countries is manual transmissions. So
everyone should know.
Yeah, you should. It's a piece of cake.
Everyone. It's. I will not. There's so many automatics nowadays, and it's like I cannot compare the experience of driving. I respect everybody's car builds and everything like that, but I can't compare an automatic to a manual. I just can't do it. It's just such a different experience to me.
It is. That's definitely where I have enough. I mean, since the age of 16. When I first started driving, because my first job was working at a dealership washing cars. I was a lot tech. And I was told, you're going to have to learn how to drive stick shift. If you're going to do this job, you're going to have to. Of course, I really didn't get it out of second gear because I'm driving the cars in a parking lot. But yeah. And most of my cars were stick shifts. And as you get older, driving stick shifts all the time, I think you are rewarded with finally I get an automatic, but that's a different animal, really. But if you're going to have a muscle car, Oh man, don't get an automatic. Nah, it's just
They say it's faster, but I just the
how many
experience for
NASCAR
me.
drivers do you see driving an automatic?
They got the slap, but man, it's like
Or Formula One?
it's just the experience for me. I can't get over it. It is faster though. They've proven it. Like CVT transmissions and everything else, it is faster.
I just feel like you have more control with that. I mean, the funny thing of it is, I don't miss it, but when I used to work for a contractor through FedEx Grounds, granted I'm not there anymore, but it was Grounds because you work for a contractor. The contractor had what we called Bertha. Ironically, at that time, not all of our drivers, his drivers, could drive a manual transmission. And I had to drive Big Bertha. And I'm not going to get into that story because that was, but I had to drive it through one particular summer where I had a Tip City route. And when you're getting in and out of a car every 10th of a mile, or I'm sorry, the step truck, and you drive that big old, it's exhausting driving a 5-speed in a step truck, in a small town where you're constantly getting out of the truck all the time. But yeah, that's something different because you're not driving one of those things because, it's fun. It's not. It's just a big box truck to hold packages, and it's an oven.
But that's your leg workout for the day.
I was much thinner than back then too. My left leg was very strong with that. Well, and I'm also an old school guy that if you are driving one of those older beasts, you use the clutch just to start, and then you basically, as you get going down the road, you're speed shifting.
Okay.
Speed shifting, yeah. That's an old terminology that even truck drivers did back in the day, which obviously a lot of truck drivers today, from what I understand, you have two options now for Class A. You could have your endorsement where you know how to drive a manual transmission or you don't. That to me is like mind-blowing because I grew up in an era where truck driving, in other words, I just heard like 3 years ago that a lot of them are automatic transmission. I'm like, what?
No shit.
Yeah. A lot of diesel trucks that handle basically pulling a trailer. People say an 18-wheeler. What's basically in other words, this is what a truck driver technically would call. I'm not a truck driver. I'm a trailer driver. And those were 10 speeds. Some of them were actually 12 speeds at times. And for years, there was always a manual transmission because of the size of the transmission alone. You had your higher and low gears. And you had to basically downshift and all that. I mean, you really had to watch your tact and all that and your speeds because of the weight. But here today, there's a lot of trucks. Volvo is one of them, especially Volvo. I think it was the first one. I could be wrong, but I think it was the first trucking company that made manual transmissions. So, on one hand, it's good because there's obviously a lot of new truck drivers out there that are terrible at it because a lot of trucking companies that you go to these schools, they throw people. They just want to get them like in a revolving door, in and out real quick. You really don't get much experience. So you got these young truck drivers that usually get in more wrecks. And sure enough, if they're setting out a light and they're not as comfortable with that transmission, if it's a manual transmission, they may roll back into, like, say, your car with these manual. Manual.
Oh,
yeah, man. I've seen that a lot.
It's on now.
But with the automatics, that trailer's not going to roll back like they used to. So, hey, I actually brought some analogy to the auto industry here, but it's with trucking. Yay.
I drive a truck too. It's all right. It's all automobiles.
Sadly, folks.
Maybe we should call it horror, automobiles, music, and some random shit.
And I'm trying my best to look up here. But
I try, and then I do this,
I can't tell you how many times I'll watch YouTubers that's got that, silver or gold YouTube, plaque behind to show up. Hey, look at me. I've got 10,000 subscribers or 1 million subscribers. But you'll notice that if they're looking to a camera with the viewfinder, they're always, okay, here's my phone right there. I'm looking at the lens, but this doesn't have a viewfinder. If I had, once you get your Sony, you may know what I'm talking about.
Yes, it's got the flip up screen that I can.
Yeah,
okay.
You may not do it, but if when it's to the side, you'll see some of these so-called experienced, YouTubers. They're constantly looking at themselves while they're talking to you, the viewers, and it drives me nuts when they're doing this. I'm like, would you look into the lens, please?
It's so hard. Like, I'm trying to train myself, but it's so hard to just stare into a black lens, especially with your screen right here. I'm like, I feel like I'm talking to you, and then it's like, oh shit.
It's more challenging with these because it's if you're like me, you have your camera like right now. You can't justify it, but here's the top of using my laptop. And if I was using the webcam for that, it'd basically be right there. But my phone, is up there. So I'm trying to respect the viewers by looking into it more. But yeah, I'm the same way. I'm technically looking at myself right now when I was bitching about these experienced YouTubers. Hi, my name is Sammy and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to do a tutorial on how to put makeup on your ass crack.
If we're just audio, I mean, that's going to be...
There's so many options out here. This is going to be a lot of fun because we're going to be the kings of podcasters in this part of Ohio, whether they like it or not.
We stand on the shoulders of Ohioans.
Well, I think this is a good way to end this particular episode, episode 2. Episode 3 should be a winger, that's for sure. Winger. God, that's an 80s reference. The band Winger.